According to the Washington Post, an urgent message was sent to numerous federal agencies on Saturday, warning FEMA has advised all federal responders in Rutherford County, North Carolina, to stand down and evacuate the county immediately, adding that National Guard troops had come across trucks of armed militia, saying they were out hunting FEMA.
Well, that explosive Washington Post report has been making headlines, a lot of fear that relief efforts are being hindered by militia members. But you should keep in mind that we do not know all the details of this story. There are some conflicting reports, including whether or not those militias were actually real. Now, let's go over what we do know. On Saturday, an official working with the US Forest Service sent the following email to other federal agencies. FEMA has advised all federal responders in Rutherford County, North Carolina, to stand down and evacuate the county immediately. National Guard troops had come across 2 trucks of armed militia saying they were out hunting FEMA. Now, 2 other anonymous officials confirmed that email was real, but did not confirm or deny the existence of militia members threatening, relief efforts or members of the US Forest Service. A third official stated that FEMA workers had to pause their work from Saturday until Sunday. And it's also worth noting that a lone individual in North Carolina was in fact arrested for making threats against FEMA, but it does not appear or seem like he was linked to the alleged militia threats in this story. So in a statement to CBS News, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office said they received a call Saturday afternoon that said a man with an assault rifle had made a comment about possibly harming FEMA employees working on recovery efforts in the Lake Lure and Chimney Rock area. The sheriff's office stated that the initial report stated there was a truckload of militia that was involved. However, after further investigation, it was determined the man acted alone and there were no truckloads of militia going to Lake Lure. So that initial report could have been the source of the US Forest Service officials' claim about militias, but that's just speculation. So it's really unclear if there is a threat, and if there is a threat, how big of a threat is it? I've got more details, but Cenk, I want to give you an opportunity to jump in.
Yeah, I don't want you to make the mistake of thinking that this one armed guy was the only threat. A bunch of threats have been called in different places, and they've had to stop, carrying out aid in different places. And it's not just FEMA, it's the Forest Services. In fact, one person from the Forest Services said, when we go to help people, it's 51-49. 51 saying, oh, thank you for the help, I appreciate it, thanks for showing up. And 49%, basically half of the people saying, oh, we heard about you FEMA guys. We don't want your stupid help. Okay, I mean, that's what Donald Trump has done. The people who need the help are rejecting it because he told them that the people coming to help them is deep state, because he's a lying ass. And he only cares about himself. He doesn't care if you get aid. Are you crazy? In fact, there's a whole pattern here where he's trying to make sure you don't get the aid so that he can blame the Democrats and it'll be better for his campaign. Just like he did with immigration. The Democrats said, okay, we'll pass your version of the bill. And then he said, oh, well, that might help Biden. So I want the problem to continue. So no, vote no on the bill. So in this case, he says, oh, FEMA might be coming to hurt you and take your land and stuff. So then people start rejecting FEMA. And then they don't get the relief. And when that happens, they then turn around and go, see, FEMA's not coming to help you because it's a Republican area. And then people go, see, no, not see. You've got to see for the first time in your life if you're MAGA. Donald Trump is a con man using you as his mark. He thinks you're a sucker. So he's like, okay, yeah, the government is about to help you recover from not only the hurricane, but help you save your life. They saved over 3,000 people. But Trump told them, no. They're coming to hurt you because they want to hurt Trump. Make sure you vote against Democrats. Vote for me. And if you die along the way, who cares? I'll probably get more votes.
So he started politicizing the aftermath of Hurricane Helene by claiming that FEMA was not being sent to Republican areas of the country that was impacted by Helene because the Biden administration doesn't want to help Republicans, which was a lie. And so situations like this where people desperately do need help should not be politicized, especially for political gain in a presidential election. But I think I'm asking for too much considering where we are as a country right now. Now, according to the Washington Post, residents of Rutherford County have allegedly been making threats against FEMA on social media as well. Chimney Rock in Rutherford County, for instance, has become one of the centers of tension and conflict after a rumor spread on social media that government officials plan to seize the devastated village and bulldoze bodies under the rubble. Authorities and news outlets debunked the assertion, but people still took to social media imploring militias to go after FEMA. So Jordan Monaghan, who is a deputy communications director for North Carolina's Governor Roy Cooper, stated, "We are aware of significant misinformation online and reports of threats to response workers on the ground, and the safety of responders must be taken seriously." And the Ashe County Sheriff's Office also posted about this yesterday, saying that recently in the mountain region, there have been threats made against FEMA. This has not happened in Ashe County or the surrounding counties. Out of an abundance of caution, they have paused their process as they are assessing the threats. So these threats do end up hindering relief efforts, which is devastating for people who desperately need relief efforts, people who desperately need help. And so there's that. And then final part of this is, last Friday, the Wall Street Journal reported that white supremacist groups like Patriot Front have been active in North Carolina and Florida communities that have been affected by the hurricanes. We had Hurricane Helene, and then after that, Hurricane Milton. And obviously, there are some questions about what their real motive is. These militia groups offer aid while filming propaganda videos that both amplify falsehoods about the government response and help the groups remake their image as patriotic civic organizations for men. The Patriot Front, or a Patriot Front member, for instance, said the following in one such propaganda video: "It is important for American men to gather and help fellow Americans in need while the federal government is occupied ushering in foreigners and giving them homes and giving them food and giving them water." So, further, increasing tensions, spreading misinformation, while obviously also creating these propaganda videos that worsen the situation.
But I can't tell the difference between a white supremacist video and the Trump video. Trump's saying the same exact thing. He's saying, they're giving it to the immigrants instead of giving it to you. And they're gonna take your stuff and give it to immigrants. So that's why the Republican governors and mayors on the ground are like, what are you doing? Why are you saying things that are obviously and ridiculously untrue? You're hurting our constituents who are almost all Republican. Why are you making up these outrageous lies? On the immigration issue, those are two separate parts of the agency, and they have two different budgets, and they cannot intermingle. They cannot take one portion of the budget and send it to the other portion of the budget. It's not legal. But it doesn't matter because Donald Trump's a ridiculous, pathetic liar. And the fact that the mainstream media and the establishment in this country is so loath has given an opportunity for a con man like Donald Trump to take advantage and to tell you, you know what? They're not just lying about politicians being wonderful heroes who are not affected by money, etc. They're lying about everything. They're gonna take your house. The only one who can protect you is me. The con man who started Trump University and Trump Charity, which were both fake, so I could con people who believed in me. So one more thing about this, two more things actually. One, the truckloads aren't true, but it's very understandable why they thought that, because they hear a report about a guy who is armed coming for them. And then it's a game of telephone because the army first hears that at a gas station, somebody in the army from a Good Samaritan, right? And then he tells another agency and then they tell a third agency, so they start to panic. And so whenever they get a threat that they've got to move them out, because if you get a threat and you don't listen to it and you leave those FEMA or Forest Service agents in there and then people come and kill them, well then that's on you.
Yeah,
and then people are gonna say, what the hell? And then nobody's gonna sign up for FEMA.
It's better to be safe than sorry, but obviously the threats are, again, hindering incredibly important relief efforts. But Jake, going back to what you said about the media and the level of distrust that the public has in the media and its reporting overall, you're right about that, right? That's why people do turn to social media and are far more likely to believe, false rumors as opposed to following what the, legacy media is reporting on what's happening on the ground. The other thing I want to just bring up is, look, this does create an opening for groups like Patriot Front because there's a lot of distrust toward the government. There's a lot of distrust that the government is actually going to help the American people. And that's not something new. That is something that has been a problem in this country for a long time, not without merit. You get what I'm saying?
Of course. Look, here, I'll break the brain of a giant portion of the country. Our members understand this. That's why they support this show and allow us to speak the truth. But it's possible that the mainstream media and the establishment and Donald Trump are both full of crap. I know, for the Democrats, they've never once considered, well, Trump's a monster, but maybe my establishment Democrats are also lying to me. Maybe they also take donor money and sell out, etc. Never occurred to them. And for the MAGA guys, well, I know the establishment and mainstream media is full of crap. Congratulations, you figured out half the puzzle. I'm really proud of you. But Donald Trump, who's done every fake thing in the world, has run every con in the world, literally had to pay a $25 million fine for the Trump University scam, right? And has kicked out veterans from in front of Trump Tower because he's like, I don't like the way they make my tower look. And you think he's for veterans, you think he's for you. No, they're both full of crap. What is it gonna get through your head? It's so frustrating to do the news and have this giant chunk of the country on both sides just be like, nope, the other side is the only one that's evil and my side always tells the truth. So last thing, guys, this is a little bit of an aside, but the guy that actually had the guns was arrested for, quote, going armed to the terror of the public, which is apparently a charge, okay? So he's out now on $10,000 bail. Now I want you to imagine a Muslim guy saying he's going to go shoot people at a church, and then they let him out on $10,000, and he's charged with going armed to the terror of the public, and he has the weapons. And they arrest him, and they're like, don't worry about it, out on $10,000 bail.
I can imagine it happening with no cash bail.
Yeah, well, look, no, not I'm gonna go shoot people, government agents or a church or whatever. No, in that case, if you're Muslim, you're going to Guantanamo. If you're a minority, you're going to prison for a long, long, long time. But if you're a white right-winger who's an idiot yahoo threatening to murder government officials, out on bail, $10,000. We'll say, hey, you're out on your own reconnaissance, no big deal. If you're a right winger, you get to threaten to murder everyone. What the hell's with this double standard? It's insanity. So then, anyway, I don't want to get into the devolving mania that this is going to create when one side of the country can threaten to murder other people and get away with it. We're heading towards chaos because American people hate the mainstream so much, they're gonna elect an agent of chaos as the president, and we're gonna have anarchy for 4 years under Trump. Thanks for watching. If you become a member, you get to watch all this ad-free, except for, of course, this ad. Still, hit the join button below.